Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when we find ourselves standing at a crossroads, uncertain of which way to go. We face decisions, challenges, and circumstances that can sometimes leave us feeling overwhelmed. But today I want to tell you something that I believe with all my heart. God is opening a powerful door for you, and you don't want to miss it. Now, I know that sometimes we get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life. We're so consumed with the worries of today that we forget to look at the big picture. But God is always at work, moving in ways we can't fully understand. His timing is perfect, and He knows what's best for you. If you're listening to this today, know that there is a door waiting for you to walk through. A door that leads to something greater, something beyond what you've imagined. Too often we let fear and doubt hold us back. We hesitate, wondering if we're really capable of stepping into what God has in store. We look at our weaknesses, our shortcomings, and we start to believe that we're not worthy. But let me remind you today, God's plans for you are bigger than your failures. His grace is greater than your limitations. When God opens a door, He is not asking you to walk through it on your own strength. He is asking you to trust Him, to take that step of faith. In the Scriptures, we are reminded time and again that God is a God of opportunity. He opens doors that no one can shut. The Apostle Paul wrote to the Corinthians about a door of opportunity that was open to him, and though there were adversaries and challenges, he walked through it. That's what God does. He provides a way even when it seems impossible. The door might not always look like we expect. It might not come in the way we envision, but it's there and it's waiting for you. The key, my friends, is not to let the distractions of life keep us from seeing the door. You may be facing difficulties today. Maybe you're struggling with doubts, or maybe you're caught up in the busyness of your life. But I want to encourage you to pause and reflect. Take a moment to look up, to listen to that still, small voice, and recognize that God is at work. He's preparing you, shaping you, and positioning you for something greater. God doesn't want you to miss this opportunity. His call is clear. Step forward. Walk through that door with courage and faith. Don't let fear hold you back. You may not know what's on the other side, but I can assure you it's something far beyond what you could ever imagine. When you trust Him, He will lead you to a place of purpose, a place of fulfillment, and a place where His glory will shine through your life. So today I urge you, don't hesitate. Don't look back. The door is open and God is waiting for you to step into His plan for your life. Take that step of faith, knowing that with every step He is right there beside you, guiding you into His abundant and perfect will. The door is open. Walk through it. There are times in life when we find ourselves standing in the midst of uncertainty, unsure of what to do or where to go next. We face obstacles, challenges, and moments of doubt that can cloud our vision and make us question our direction. Yet, even in these moments of uncertainty, God is always at work behind the scenes. He is constantly orchestrating events and positioning us for something greater. There are times when God opens a door for us, a door that leads to a place of opportunity, growth, and fulfillment. And when that door opens, it is a call to us, a call to walk through it, to trust Him, and to step into the next chapter of our lives. You see, God doesn't just open doors for random reasons. Every door He opens has a purpose behind it. Every opportunity He presents is designed for your growth, for your well-being, and for His glory. The doors He opens are not just opportunities for success in the world's eyes. They are doors to the divine purpose He has designed specifically for your life. And that's something we often overlook. We get so wrapped up in our own plans and desires that we forget that God's plans for us are always far better than what we can imagine. His door isn't just any door. It's a door to something far greater than anything we can see or understand at the moment. When God opens a door for you, it might not always be immediately obvious. You may not always recognize it at first. Life is full of distractions. There are pressures, worries, and demands pulling us in every direction. Sometimes we find ourselves so caught up in the whirlwind of life that we miss the door that God is opening right before us. But I want to remind you that God's plan is perfect. He will make His invitation clear, and He will provide the grace and strength to walk through that door when the time comes. He has a way of revealing His purpose to us, often when we least expect it, but always at the right time. There are those who walk through doors without even knowing they're walking into something that will change their lives forever. Maybe it's a new job, a new relationship, or an unexpected opportunity that seems small at first, but as they step through it, they find themselves in a place they never thought they would be. A place of purpose, a place of significance, and a place where they can see God's hand at work. God has a way of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary, the mundane into the miraculous. But we must have eyes to see and hearts willing to step forward in faith. Perhaps you are standing at the threshold of one of those doors right now. Perhaps you feel uncertain about what lies ahead. You may feel afraid or hesitant to take that first step. Maybe you're thinking about all the reasons why it won't work, all the obstacles in the way, or all the fears you have about stepping into the unknown. But I want to encourage you today. Don't let fear keep you from walking through that door. Don't let doubt make you turn away from the opportunity that God has placed before you. God is not in the business of leading you into something that will ultimately harm you. His plans are good, and His timing is perfect. He knows exactly what He's doing. In those moments of uncertainty, we must remind ourselves of the truth. When God opens a door, He is not asking us to walk through it alone. He is with us every step of the way. His presence will guide us. His wisdom will lead us. And His strength will empower us to face whatever challenges lie ahead. The doors God opens are not just opportunities. They are invitations to trust Him more fully, to step out in faith, and to rely on His strength instead of our own. You may not see it now, but this door that God is opening for you is a door that leads to something greater. It might be a door to a new level of growth, a door to a deeper relationship with God, or a door that will allow you to impact others in ways you never thought possible. The door may seem daunting at first, but once you step through it, you will find that the path ahead is filled with the blessings and the purpose that God has prepared for you. So today I urge you to look for the doors God is opening in your life. Pay attention to the opportunities that come your way. Don't let the noise of the world drown out God's voice. Trust that He is leading you, guiding you, and opening doors that are designed specifically for you. When that door opens, don't hesitate. Walk through it with faith, knowing that God is opening a powerful door for you. Don't miss it. Fear and doubt are two of the most powerful forces that can hold us back in life. They have the ability to paralyze us, to keep us from stepping forward and embracing the opportunities that God is placing in front of us. We all face moments when we feel unsure of ourselves, when we question our worth, or when we wonder if we're really capable of stepping into what God has prepared for us. The truth is, these feelings are natural. Every person, no matter how strong their faith or how confident they appear on the outside, has moments of fear and doubt. But what truly matters is how we respond to them. Are we going to allow fear to control us? Or are we going to trust God and step forward in faith, knowing that He is with us every step of the way? One of the greatest challenges we face in life is overcoming the fear that keeps us from pursuing the path that God has laid out for us. Fear is a liar. It tells us that we aren't good enough, that we're too weak, or that we'll never be able to succeed. It whispers in our ears, feeding our insecurities and causing us to shrink back from the doors that God is opening. But the reality is, fear is not from God. Fear comes from the enemy, and it is meant to keep us stuck, to keep us from fulfilling the purpose that God has for our lives. Fear seeks to trap us in a state of inaction, convincing us that the risks are too great or the obstacles too overwhelming. But God has not given us a spirit of fear. Instead, He has given us a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. When God calls us to step through a door, He is not asking us to do it in our own strength or according to our own understanding. He is asking us to trust Him, and trust is the antidote to fear. When we trust God, we are able to look beyond the uncertainties and challenges that might stand in our way. We recognize that while the journey may not be easy, God's strength will carry us through. We can move forward with confidence, knowing that we are not walking alone. Doubt, too, is a powerful force that can hinder our progress. Doubt causes us to second-guess ourselves, to wonder whether we're truly hearing God's voice, and to question whether the opportunities in front of us are really from Him. Doubt can cloud our vision, causing us to miss the doors God has opened because we're too busy questioning if we're worthy or if we're capable. Just like fear, doubt can keep us trapped in a state of indecision and inaction. It keeps us standing at the threshold, looking at the door, but never taking the first step. But here's the truth. Doubt does not have the final word. God is bigger than our doubts. His promises are true, and His faithfulness is unwavering. When we face doubt, we need to remind ourselves of what God has already done in our lives. We need to recall the times when He has been faithful, the moments when He has opened doors in the past, and the ways He has shown up for us time and time again. Our past victories are evidence of His faithfulness, and they can give us the courage to trust Him in the present. When we confront fear and doubt, we are given a choice. We can either let those emotions dictate our actions, or we can choose to trust God and step forward in faith. Trusting God means acknowledging that His ways are higher than our ways, and that His understanding is greater than ours. It means letting go of our need for control and embracing the uncertainty of the future with the confidence that God is already there. The key to overcoming fear and doubt is not in finding the perfect solution or having everything figured out. The key is in trusting God with the unknown and moving forward with faith, knowing that He will guide us every step of the way. Remember, God is not asking you to do it alone. When you walk through the doors He opens for you, He is with you, providing the strength, wisdom, and courage you need. The road may not always be smooth, and there may be moments of struggle along the way, but you are never alone. God's presence goes before you and behind you, guiding you toward the purpose He has for your life. When you choose faith over fear and trust over doubt, you are opening yourself to the powerful work that God wants to do in and through you. So the next time fear and doubt try to hold you back, remember that God has not called you to walk in fear, but in faith. He is opening doors for you, and with His strength you can overcome anything that stands in your way. God's timing is always perfect, and when we think about the doors He opens for us, we must remember that His timing is never random. It is part of a divine plan that is being orchestrated by His perfect wisdom and understanding. While we may find ourselves impatient, frustrated, or uncertain about why things aren't happening on our timeline, we need to trust that God knows exactly when to open the door that will lead us into His purpose for our lives. His timing is not just about what is happening right now, but it is about preparing us for the bigger picture He has in mind. In our human understanding, time is linear. We see things in the moment and judge their significance based on where we are in life. We often feel that if things don't happen when we expect them to, something has gone wrong. But God's perspective is far different. He sees the beginning and the end, The whole journey, not just the moment we are in. When we are in the midst of waiting, it can feel like God is silent or distant, but the truth is, He is always working. He is always preparing us, guiding us, and getting us ready for the next step. What may seem like a delay or a closed door is actually God setting the stage for something greater. Think about the many stories throughout the Bible that demonstrate God's perfect timing. Abraham waited years for the promised son Isaac, but God's plan was far more intricate than Abraham's limited view could see. Joseph, who was sold into slavery by his brothers, spent years in prison before God elevated him to a position of power, saving many lives in the process. Even Jesus, when he walked on earth, operated according to God's perfect timing. He didn't rush, he didn't force things, and he didn't respond to pressure. He waited for God's appointed moment to fulfill his mission, and everything unfolded at exactly the right time. Similarly, in our lives, we may find ourselves waiting for a door to open. We may feel that we've been standing at the threshold for so long, asking God when the opportunity will come, when the breakthrough will happen. It's easy to become discouraged or disheartened when it seems like nothing is changing. But it is in these moments of waiting that God is often doing His most important work. He is preparing us, refining us, teaching us patience, humility, and trust. If we rush through the process, we may miss the lessons and the growth that are essential for our spiritual development. God's timing is also about the people and circumstances He is working to align. He is not just shaping us, but He is also working in the lives of others to bring about His plan. When we're waiting for a door to open, we might be waiting for God to align the right people, the right resources, or the right opportunities. In His perfect timing, all of these things come together in a way that we could never plan or orchestrate ourselves. There is a divine coordination happening in the background, even when we cannot see it. We must also understand that the door God opens may not always be the door we imagined. We often have our own ideas about what success or opportunity should look like. We might have a certain vision in our minds, thinking that God will open a door that fits perfectly with our expectations. But God's plans are far bigger and more beautiful than we could ever imagine. The door He opens might not look the way we thought it would, but when we step through it, we will see that it leads to something even better than we could have dreamed. Moreover, the waiting period before the door opens is not wasted time. It is an active waiting. During this time, God is preparing us for what's ahead. He is building our character, increasing our faith, and deepening our relationship with Him. He is teaching us to trust in His sovereignty and His perfect timing. If we truly believe that God is in control of our lives, we must trust that His timing is always right. We don't need to force doors open or rush ahead of God. When we wait for Him, He will open the door at the right time, and it will be exactly what we need. So when you find yourself in a season of waiting, don't despair. Don't let the silence fool you into thinking that God is not working. His timing is perfect, and He is opening doors for you that will lead you exactly where you need to go. Trust that He is preparing you, that He is aligning the right circumstances, and that in His perfect timing, the door will open and you will step into the opportunity He has designed for you. When God opens a door before us, it requires something from us. It's not enough to simply recognize that the door is open. We must choose to step forward with courage, even when the way ahead is uncertain. Faith is not just about believing that the door is there. It's about taking action and walking through it, trusting that God will guide us every step of the way. This act of stepping forward in faith can be one of the most challenging yet rewarding decisions we make. It demands that we leave behind our comfort zones, our fears and our doubts, and step into the unknown with the confidence that God will never leave us. In many ways, faith is a choice. It's easy to talk about having faith when everything is going well, when the road is clear and the future seems predictable. But when we are faced with uncertainty, When we stand at the threshold of something new and unknown, that's when faith is truly tested. God doesn't ask us to have it all figured out before we take that first step. He doesn't require that we have a detailed map or a perfect plan. What He asks for is our trust. He asks us to move forward, to take the step He's calling us to take, and to believe that He will lead us and sustain us along the way. Faith also involves letting go of control. We like to know exactly where we are going, what the next step will be, and how we will get there. But often, God's ways don't work that way. He calls us to trust Him without knowing every detail, without having all the answers. When we choose to walk through the door God has opened, we are surrendering our desire for control and saying, God, I trust You. I don't know what lies ahead, but I know that You are leading me, and that is enough. It's a moment of profound surrender where we let go of our own understanding and place our lives in the hands of the One who knows all things. This step of faith is not always easy. There are often challenges, obstacles, and setbacks along the way. As we step through the door God opens, we may encounter difficulties that test our resolve. There may be moments of doubt, fear, or frustration. But remember, stepping forward in faith does not mean that the road will be smooth. It means that, even in the midst of uncertainty, we trust that God is with us, guiding us, and providing what we need to move forward. The journey may not always be easy, but it will always be purposeful, and God's presence will be there every step of the way. Sometimes the hardest part of stepping through the door is simply taking that first step. The fear of the unknown, the anxiety about what might happen, or the uncertainty about the future can make us hesitate. We might think, what if I fail? What if this door leads to a dead end? What if I'm not equipped for what lies ahead? But God doesn't call us to be perfect. He doesn't expect us to have all the answers. He simply calls us to be obedient and trust Him. The first step may be the hardest, but once we take it, we will often find that God begins to give us the strength, the wisdom, and the peace we need to continue. Stepping through the door also requires us to rely on God's strength rather than our own. In moments of uncertainty, we can be tempted to look at our own abilities and think that we are not enough. But God doesn't call us to walk through these doors in our own strength. He equips us with everything we need to fulfill His plan. The Apostle Paul wrote, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This is the assurance that when God opens a door, He will provide the strength to walk through it. We are not walking alone. He is with us, empowering us and leading us to where we need to go. There is also a reward in stepping through the door that God opens. On the other side of that door is not just an opportunity for success or achievement, but a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose. God opens doors for us not only to accomplish things, but to grow in our faith, to experience His goodness, and to see His faithfulness in action. As we take that step of faith, we are stepping into a season of growth, learning, and transformation. The journey may be challenging, but it is also filled with blessings that we could never fully comprehend until we walk through the door He has set before us. Stepping forward in faith is not just about trusting that God has a plan for us, but also about believing that His plan is good, even when we can't see the whole picture. It's about taking that step, knowing that He will guide us, equip us, and give us everything we need for the journey ahead. God's opportunity is always greater than anything we could ever imagine for ourselves. We often approach life with our own limited understanding and expectations, shaping our dreams based on what we see around us or what we believe is possible. But God's plans for us are so much more expansive, more beautiful, and more fulfilling than anything we could ever conceive on our own. When He opens a door, it is not merely an opportunity to meet our immediate needs or desires. It is an invitation to step into something far beyond our expectations, something that is part of His perfect purpose for our lives. It is natural for us to want to control our own paths, to create our own opportunities based on what we think will make us happy or successful. We often find ourselves making plans and setting goals, not realizing that God's plans for us are infinitely greater than our own. Sometimes, the door God opens may not look like the one we had imagined. It may not meet our expectations or fit our own idea of success. But when we walk through the doors He opens, we soon realize that His ways are far better than our own. Take, for example, the story of Joseph. He went through incredible hardships, betrayal by his brothers, being sold into slavery, unjust imprisonment. Yet all of it was part of God's plan to position him for something far greater. Joseph had no way of knowing the incredible purpose God had in store for him. But when he walked through the doors that opened for him, he found himself in a place of authority, able to save nations and bring restoration to his family. Had he taken matters into his own hands, or had he chosen to resist God's plan, he would have missed out on the incredible purpose God had for his life. His opportunity was far beyond anything he could have imagined in his most difficult days. Similarly, in our own lives, God's opportunities are often greater than anything we could envision. We may find ourselves in a difficult season, facing challenges that seem insurmountable. We may be unsure about the path ahead, wondering if there is even an opportunity for us to step into. But the truth is, God is always at work, opening doors that are far beyond our current understanding. These opportunities may come in unexpected ways. It might be a new job, a relationship, a ministry opportunity, or a chance to move to a new place. We may not recognize the significance of these opportunities at first, but when we step into them, we begin to see that they are part of a much bigger picture. The beauty of God's opportunities is that they are not limited to what we can see or imagine. He doesn't open doors just to provide for our needs. He opens them to fulfill His greater purpose for our lives. God's opportunities are not just about achieving success in the way the world defines it. They are about fulfilling the calling He has placed on our lives and becoming who He has created us to be. When we walk through the doors He opens, we step into a purpose that is greater than our own dreams or plans. It is a purpose that brings glory to God and impacts others in ways we cannot fully comprehend. Sometimes it takes stepping through a door to realize the full magnitude of the opportunity God has given us. We may be hesitant at first, unsure of what lies ahead. But as we take that step, we begin to see how God has been preparing us for this moment. We see how He has been working behind the scenes, aligning circumstances, and bringing the right people into our lives to help us fulfill the purpose He has set before us. Each step forward reveals more of His plan, and we begin to understand that His ways are higher than our ways. The opportunity He has opened for us is not only bigger than we expected, it is far more beautiful and fulfilling than we ever could have imagined. Furthermore, God's opportunities are often not just for our benefit, they are for the benefit of others. When we walk through the doors He opens, we are often positioned to be a blessing to those around us, whether it's in our families, communities, or workplaces. The opportunities God provides allow us to reflect His love and grace to others. We may not fully understand how our steps will impact those around us, but as we step into His opportunities, we become vessels through which His blessings flow. It's easy to miss the greatness of God's opportunities if we are too focused on our own limited expectations. We may be looking for something specific, and when it doesn't come in the form we expect, we may dismiss it as insignificant or unimportant. But we must remember that God's ways are not our ways. The doors he opens might not be the ones we would choose, but they are always the ones that will lead us into his greater purpose for our lives. When we step through those doors in faith, we are embracing a future that is far bigger and more meaningful than anything we could have planned for ourselves. And in doing so, we not only step into our destiny, but also become part of God's bigger plan to bless and impact the world. In the end, God is opening powerful doors for each of us. Doors that lead to opportunities, growth, and a life beyond anything we could have imagined. These doors are not mere coincidences. They are part of God's perfect plan, carefully crafted for his glory and our good. While fear, doubt, and uncertainty may try to stand in our way, we are called to walk through these doors with faith, trust, and courage, knowing that God's timing is perfect and his opportunities are always greater than what we can envision. As we step forward, let us remember that the path may not always be easy, but God's presence will guide us, his strength will sustain us, and his purpose will unfold in ways that surpass our understanding. Do not hesitate to walk through the door that God is opening for you today. This is your moment to step into a future filled with his grace, power, and purpose. Don't miss it.